Obviously, Jaden getting back and doing what he did, what did you think of what he gave y'all, and how badly did y'all need that?
Well, we obviously need it. Really proud of him. He's still not 100%. Tried to manage his workload this week, getting him back, and obviously appreciate the work that Garrett and Chad do to try to get the rehab right and their staff. And he, as the game went on, I thought he settled in, but he definitely is a difference maker. Knew he'd make some mistakes, but he made some terrific plays, and just it's great to have him back and see him out there. We weren't sure how many minutes. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, that was my bad. Please continue.
What did he say?
He said he wants you to continue. He was interested.
What I was going to say is we weren't sure how many minutes Jaden would play. We were going to wait and see how he responded being out there. And I asked him a couple of times, I said, "You okay? You good?" And he said, I'm good. And a little winded, obviously, that he would be, but he even played through that. But overall, just really proud of him.
Sorry about that. I was so excited to ask you about your defense in the final 12 minutes today. You guys held them to only 3 field goals. It looked a lot like the way you closed out wins early in the season.
Well, we told him around about that time, I said to him in a timeout, I don't care how we get it done, we've got to find a way to get it done. We're going to have to make plays. We're going to have to rebound on the offensive end. You're going to have to make plays. They do a really good job of getting in gaps. We keep telling the young guys they're going to have to learn to play with one less dribble to take away those gap strips. But you go back at one stretch offensively, Eve made a couple big buckets for us. And then actually at the end of the game, we were playing through Jaden a little bit and trying to get him to drive. And but defensively, I thought our guys were locked in. I do. We gave up some rebounds, but when you play against a team that is that long and physical, and we really had a small lineup out there at times, it's hard to rebound, but we still got to find a way to do it. But when we did, Mike, we came up with a couple big rebounds, and we came up with two big offensive rebounds where we were able to come up with the ball there.
Troy, Rob Lewis, then Wes Rucker.
Rick, a season low in minutes for Victor Bailey tonight. What has maybe affected him the last 5 games to where he hasn't been as impactful offensively as he was to start the season?
I can't answer that. Players go through it. We watched Eve go through it. I think that he's got to understand that, everything that he's got to do on both ends is not just offensively. And we're going to, I think he had 5 shots tonight and didn't make any of them. But that's, as long as they're good shots, I don't have a problem with it because that's what he does. But we needed some guys that we were really trying to encourage our guys to drive the ball more and drive it. And but he's going to help us. He'll be back to help us. I mean, we're going to need all these guys. We're going to need. I thought Olivier was terrific tonight. Really played his best basketball from a coach's standpoint, where we felt like he was relaxed and playing and did some good things. And Eve obviously, but overall, the guard play. Our guards had a tough night shooting the ball, and we had a lot of good looks at it that we didn't get anything out of it, but yet. At least we're shooting it, and that's the key thing from our guards, and because we've got to shoot the ball when we're open. And that will cut down, which it did tonight, 18 turnovers to 11. And a couple of turnovers we had, like Santi had 2 real bad ones to start the second half, and Jaden came down one time, and I think he thought Santi would be in the corner. That's where he normally needs to be, but just a tough pass there. Those are the ones that we can still eliminate, and those are the ones that I know that we will clean up. But overall, when the guys' minutes fluctuate, it's going to be, again, and I told him this the other night, we might be a team all year that we're going to ride the hot hand, whoever it may be. We'd like to be more consistent, but if somebody's not playing the way that the game's flowing, we're going to go with who we think's in the moment at that point in time is playing well.
Gustavo, Ben McKee, and Mike Wilson.
Coach, how big of a development could it be for your team and for them individually that Keon and Jaden kind of carried you guys down the stretch? It even looked like when you called that timeout with a minute and a half left, instead of setting up something for Fulke, you called something for those 2 guys to be a little 2-man game. Just how significant is that?
Well, we did because, again, I mean, Folky's going to have to adjust his game. We keep telling him that, and until he does, it's not going to work for him. It really isn't, Rob, until he understands and adjusts the scouting report and what he does. I thought early in the game, in terms of Folky, you know, I thought EJ and Eve, I thought Eve did it, and also Olivia, they were really playing with force, and Folky can play with more force than he's playing with. But there was no doubt, again, coming down the stretch, we're going to play through Jaden because, one, he's a guy that can finish well, and he's a guy that certainly will pass it to the open man. But Folky did have a big tip. That tip he had right there at the end was a huge play in the game. I think it was him or Josiah. You remember, Rob?
To
That
get
tip?
It was
the ball.
Folky.
Yeah, that was a big that was a big play in the game. But I think, Rob, we all know that those two guys, and I've said it, they're going to get better and better. They've just got to get consistent, more consistent.
Rick, I know there's a lot of different ways to win basketball games, but shooting 3 of 19 from three and then getting out rebounded 42-30 is probably not high on the list. I mean, how concerning is the shooting at this point, or is it just, you know, you think it's going to get better?
I don't think you can ever be concerned about shooting when guys take good shots. I don't. I mean, we go back, like when I go back and watch other teams play, and I'm breaking down scouts, this and that, I can tell you when teams are making shots, and sometimes they make tough shots, it looks good. It all looks good. The question is, can you win when you're not making shots? And I know this, when Santi's open, he's one of those guys that you're really surprised when he misses it. I think Josiah is getting to that point, our bench. Josiah took one quick one early but I tell you what, that's better than him putting it on the floor and doing something that wasn't necessary, but he's got to have that mindset. He's got to have it. BJ, that is his mindset. Keon will continue to get better. Eve, I still think Eve probably should have taken a couple, but again, the way the game goes, what I like tonight, we told those guys, we still want to play inside out. And it's hard. It's hard when you are encouraging guys to shoot open shots. And we did a great job, and something we've talked a lot about on offensive rebounds, kicking out for threes, finding it. We made a couple great plays right there, and I think we scored on one or two of them and then missed a couple of them. But as long as we're taking good shots, we've got to shoot the ball. I don't want to be a team where guys are hesitant, because we've done that before. And I still look at us, and tonight we had those two freshmen on the floor. We had Santi on the floor and Josiah playing when we went small. Then you had it. We just, some way, somehow, we need Folky to get going. And he's halfway through this deal right now, and it's going to go back to his adjustments that he's going to have to personally make. And we talked to him a lot about it. We tried to move him around. But again, when it gets to shooting, all you can, again, you got to take your shots. And some nights when we're going in, and the more we do that, the more we take those shots, I think the more consistent we will be, because we have not been consistent all year taking open shots. And so now that we're doing it, I think it'll help us.
Now Gustavo, Ben, and Mike.
What do you think?
Go ahead, Ben.
Coach, what specifically did you like from Olivier there in the first half, especially with Eve on the bench in foul trouble?
Honestly, his demeanor. He didn't look like he was tense. Didn't look like he was, like, I talked to him about La La Land. He didn't look like that at all. I thought he was totally locked in. Now, he fouled a three-point shooter, or it wasn't a three-point shot, but that's the thing that I've kept telling him. He just wants to stick his hand up. He's going to have to learn to jump up and not go from point A to point B. But it's just his, I mean, he just had a real sound impact in terms of the way he handled himself. And he seemed relaxed, which it's hard sometimes for those guys to do that. I thought he really gave us a physical presence. And I think the more he can do that, to where he just settles in, because he can finish around the rim. Now, he got one block tonight that one of those, I think somebody passed it to him, which was not a good play. because you put them in jail before they even get a chance to do anything. But he didn't let it bother him. He kept playing through that. Whereas in the past, he would let a mistake hold him back, and he kept moving forward tonight.
Can you hear me now, Coach?
Yeah, we have you right now.
Great. So how do you see Santi's performance tonight? He had 6 defensive rebounds, especially the last one when, Mississippi, you guys needed the rebound that he got. How do you see Santi's performance tonight?
Again, he's not 100% yet either, but he did what you would expect. Now, he had 2 really poor plays at the start of the second half that we took him out. I mean, he's playing too fast. He hardly ever fumbles the ball. Then he tried to come down and make up with it and just drive into trouble. Can't do that. We talked to him too much about that. And but the second mistake was just out of frustration of the first one that he wanted to get it back. But his rebounding, when he's doing that, we're so much more. When our guards are rebounding, period, we're so much more effective. And again, he and Keon, Jaden, is really the fact that those guys they played. Neither one of them are 100% close, but not there totally. They gave us what we needed from them tonight.
Rick, obviously we talk a lot about Eve for his defense, but how much does he change the offense that you guys are able to run in terms of spacing and the shots that he can create?
Well, again, if he'll do that, and then we need him to drive. He can drive the ball, and we've told him that he's got to be more aggressive doing that, and we're going to continue to work on that because Eve can shoot it, and it makes Mike. It changes everything when people have to guard him out there. When you know that he's capable, he is more than capable of making those shots, but he's also capable of going and putting his shoulder down and getting to the foul line or getting to the rim. And so the guys were excited for him because I think he only played 22 minutes, but really did a great job. His blocks, obviously, we can talk about that all night, but he's just got, like I said, I know he takes everything so personal on the defensive end that block early in the game. He just can't put himself in that position early in the game. He just got to pick his spots on that and because we need him in the game more so because the first sub, normally John, he 2 minutes, he goes, we normally get him out, but Eve is a guy that normally runs that first group a little bit longer, and we couldn't do that as well as we wanted to in the first half.
Well, Ben McKee, and then we got time for one more. Someone wants to drop a line in the chat.
Coach, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like Eve is in more foul trouble this year. Is that at all concerning to you, just maybe with the increase in foul trouble here late?
Well, he's had that play he made tonight, he's had 2 of those calls where he's been called for 2 blocking fouls right there, where on ball screen coverage where he jumps out there. And, I could argue the other night, I thought it wasn't a great call, but tonight it was clearly a block. And I just told him, I said, you can't do that. That's one he can't do that because he's going to block. He's going to have some fouls because one, he's undersized most nights in there, but I think people think Eve Pons is 6'9", so he's not. And so what he does in there is really pretty remarkable. But when he gets pushed underneath the rim and it becomes his jumping against length and the girth that people lean on him, it's hard to jump when somebody's leaning on you, but yet he gets his share of them. But again, I just think his defense, I can't tell you in one game that he got fouled. He picked up 3 fouls that weren't fouls, but he's a hard guy to officiate, to be quite honest with you, because he goes over and does some athletic things. You're like, wow, did he really get that? And again, but the ones that he can't give up are the ones out front like that. He can't. He's got to pick a spot. He's got to be dead right on that, and because we need him in the game.
Last one for Coach goes to David Pascal.
Rick, are you surprised? I think this is your first game all year that had a 1-possession finish. I know the Arkansas game was a close one too, but this league and how competitive these games are. But you haven't seemed to have many of these. What can you gain from that and take from a night like tonight?
I think it's a good one. I think you need them, and I think we're going to be in game. We tell our game guys every night, even when we win a game by 9 points, 10 points or lose a game by 9 points, we tell them 9-point win is only 3 possessions. It could be, that's how fine a line it is and how quick it can go. Again, tonight, we fell asleep on the out of bounds play down there underneath. We talked to the guys. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And I think in that particular, I think Josiah got slipped, and that's what you'll learn from him, because in those situations, you cannot give up those kind of plays, because we had them frustrated a little bit, where they were having to throw it out deep. But I do think, and like I started with, I told the team, and I said, I don't care how we do it. We got to find a way to win this game. I don't care what the score is, what it is. We want to execute what we do, but we have got to find a way to get it done. And the fact of the matter is, when games like this, players make plays and coming down the stretch, that was a big play on Keon's block, even though, again, we didn't handle the baseline underneath. Coming out of that was a big play. The tip out that Folke had was a big play. Keon's rebound, I'm not sure he should have gone back up with it. That went underneath there, but he did. And that's just guys being competitive, trying to make plays. And in games like this, more times than not, it's going to be players making plays.
Thank you, Coach.
So thank you, guys.